language, however it may have been schooled by the example of older stylistic masters. The Baroque suavities of the Kabbalah, the vividly poised moralizing of The Bridge of San Luis Rey, the chaste decorum of The Woman of Andros, had all earned for their author a reputation as a writer of chiseled refinement. And because each novel was so different from what had preceded it, the range of his imagination was also lavishly praised. Early and easy success, however, invariably pushes one's detractors front and center. And in 1930, Wilder was confronted by an especially vicious attack on both his achievement and his sensibility. Writing in The New Republic, critic Michael Gold ignited a controversy that we must believe singed Wilder and without a doubt inflamed the magazine's letters column for weeks to come. Gold, whose ardent communist views made Wilder the convenient embodiment of a small, sophisticated class that has recently risen in America, our genteel bourgeoisie, dismissed the novels as chambermaid literature, and accused Wilder's writing of the shallow clarity and tight little good taste that remind one of nothing so much as the conversation and practice of a veteran cocotte. It was a vulgar, snide, tendentious piece, and it went on to hammer at Wilder's lack of nativism. Why had he taken refuge in a rootless cosmopolitanism? Italy, Peru, Greece, remote cultures and effete characters, glossy high finish and etiolated aristocratic emotions. Why, in other words, wasn't Wilder a Tolstoy, or at least a Sinclair Lewis? Instead, his serenity is that of a corpse. Prick it, and it will bleed violet ink and aperitif. Why won't Wilder plunge into the burly realities of American life? The world of stockbroker suicides and labor racketeers, steel mills and backstreets, prairies and mesas. Let Mr. Wilder write a book about modern America, Gold concluded. We predict it will reveal all his fundamental silliness and superficiality. Despite the fact his defenders rushed into print, Wilder, who never publicly commented on Gold's attack, was said privately to be hurt. Though I doubt Gold's article was a direct cause, it may have started a train of thought, one that gathered considerable baggage in the years directly following, when Wilder had moved on to a lively part-time teaching base at the University of Chicago and was also crisscrossing the country on the lecture circuit. He hadn't written about America before because, as he once explained, I didn't know enough about it. He had plucked his characters from books. Now he learned firsthand the scenery and sounds of America, and was ready to take advantage of them. In any case, his very next novel was distinctly American. It set itself down in the Mississippi Valley and points west during the Depression, offered an array of social types, analyzed their living conditions and legal system, and probed both the country's beliefs and its true religion. Business. It was enough to warm any Marxist's heart. In a letter to John Dos Passos, Edmund Wilson wrote, Thornton Wilder has taken up the challenge flung down by Mike Gold and written the best book of his life. I wish you would overcome your prejudice against him and read it. It would be inaccurate to claim that Wilder had deliberately remade himself as a novelist, had, as it were, gone native, though Our Town arrives just 3 years later. The settings and characters of Heaven's My Destination bear subtle affinities with Wilder's fiction, both earlier and later, and its hero, George Brush, shares the ardent loneliness of all of Wilder's protagonists. But it is fair to say that Wilder did turn from the exquisite cadences and lambent, layered textures of his first 3 novels. His style here is drier, flatter, jumpier. It's the effort to create an American speech for his book, to give its narrative the clipped moral tone of its caste and culture. It's what might be called a Grant Wood style. Of course, Wilder was not writing a satire, though he's content to skewer pretensions and injustices. Instead, he set out to write a comedy, and he needed a light touch to capture the incongruities of American life, at once innocent and egotistical. It is a comedy in the highest sense, and it moves easily from hayseed farce to superstitious magic, Father Pashevsky's spoon.